Okay, so what if your absolute worst travel nightmare, you know the one, could actually end with you suing the airline like a mob boss? Yeah, you heard that right. Today we are unpacking a really wild legal strategy that is flipping the script on passenger rights.
I know, it sounds completely insane, right? Suing an airline like you're trying to take down a crime family. But believe it or not, a recent, and I mean game-changing, legal shift has basically kicked open the door for passengers to use a law that was made famous, well, by the mob. So let's dig into how on earth this is even possible.
It all comes down to one super powerful piece of legislation, the RICO Act. Now, this is the legal hammer the U.S. government literally created back in the 70s to dismantle organized crime. And the thing about RICO is it doesn't just go after a single crime. No, it's designed to target the entire criminal enterprise, and it does that with absolutely crippling financial penalties.
But, for decades, the idea of using this powerful law for something like passenger mistreatment, it was a total non-starter. I mean, there was this huge legal obstacle. Think of it like a locked door, and it was known as the business or property requirement.
And here's the really crucial part. For years and years, the courts basically said you could only sue under RICO if your business or your property was directly harmed. So, if you suffered a personal injury, even an injury that came with massive, massive costs, well, that legal door was just slammed shut in your face. RICO was not going to help you.
So this really lays out the old dividing line perfectly, right? On one side, you've got your classic RICO cases. We're talking fraud, extortion, things that directly damage a business. But then on the other side, you've got personal injury and all the costs that come with it, like lost wages or those crazy medical bills. Under the old rules, all of that stuff was completely off limits for a RICO claim. And for passengers, well, that was pretty much the end of the story. Until now.
But then, everything changed. A landmark Supreme Court case came along and provided the exact key needed to unlock that door, completely redrawing the entire legal map.
So get this. The date was April 2nd, 2025. The Supreme Court hands down its decision in what seemed like a totally unrelated case, Medical Marijuana Inc. versus Horn. And in doing so, they sent absolute shockwaves through the entire legal world. And this, quote, "This is the key to everything." The court declared that RICO, and I quote, "does not preclude recovery for all economic harms that result from personal injuries." Let me break that down. In plain English, it means you can't just be automatically blocked from suing just because your financial losses happen to come from a personal injury. That one sentence, man, it cracked a whole thing wide open. So what does this actually mean in the real world? Well, it means that suddenly, this whole treasure chest of damages was unlocked. I mean, the very things that were previously off limits. We're talking lost wages, massive medical bills, all those other financial hits. They are now potentially on the table in a RICO lawsuit. It's a huge deal.
Okay, so how does this big Supreme Court decision suddenly create a blueprint for suing an airline? Well, with this brand new precedent in hand, lawyers can now build a really powerful new kind of argument, what they're calling the passengers as cargo strategy.
Now, to build this kind of case, lawyers need one more piece of the puzzle. It's called the Travel Act. Basically, this law makes it a federal crime to use interstate travel to promote an unlawful business. And this is the crucial part. Violating the Travel Act is what's known as a predicate act. Think of it as one of the specific underlying crimes that can be used to trigger a much, much bigger RICO claim.
So here's how the argument actually gets built, step by step. Okay, first, a lawyer has to prove that passengers were mistreated. We're talking essentially treated like inanimate cargo. Step 2, they have to argue that this mistreatment was part of a broader, unlawful business practice, which then triggers the Travel Act. Third, and this is the absolute key link, they connect that violation directly to the passenger's financial losses. And then finally, you put all those pieces together, and boom, you've got yourself a powerful civil RICO claim.
So you might be wondering, why go through all these legal gymnastics? What's the ultimate payoff here? Well, it's actually pretty simple. This strategy completely changes the financial stakes for these big transportation companies.
All right, let's just compare the old way of doing things with this new way. A traditional claim, right, it's based on simple negligence. And what do you get? You get compensatory damages, which is basically just enough money to cover your costs. But a civil RICO claim, whoa, that alleges a pattern of racketeering. And the remedy? Well, that's where this whole thing gets explosive. Just take a look at that last row there.
Yeah, that's right. 3 times. 3. This is the incredible power of what's called treble damages under RICO. A plaintiff can literally be awarded 3 times the amount of their actual financial losses plus their attorney's fees. I mean, this turns a simple complaint into a massive, massive financial threat.
So you see, this isn't just some new type of lawsuit. It's more like a strategic upgrade. It takes a standard everyday passenger mistreatment claim and completely transforms it into a powerful, high-stakes RICO case with the potential for an absolutely huge payout.
And all of this leads to one final, huge question. By giving passengers access to one of the most powerful legal tools in the entire country, are we entering a whole new era for passenger rights? I mean, is this going to force companies to finally change their ways? Or is it just going to lead to even more drawn-out legal battles? I guess only time will tell.